A young man is found dead in his shower, stabbed nearly 30 times, with his throat slashed and shot in the head. His ex-girlfriend claims that she wasn't there, but then police recover a camera, and inside it are the photos that may have captured the moments before he died. This is the case of Travis Alexander and the woman who changed her story again and again, Jodi Arias. Before we get into how Travis died, we need to understand just how toxic this relationship was, because this wasn't just a breakup gone wrong, but friends said that there was warning signs long before the murder even happened, and by the time Travis had tried to move on, it was already too late. Before his name became attached to one of the most infamous murder trials in America, Travis was known as charismatic and deeply religious. He had a difficult childhood growing up and experienced a lot of instability. But people close to him said that he worked hard to build a better life, and as an adult, Travis became involved in business, personal development, and his faith. He was social, driven, and according to his friends, he had big plans for the future. But in 2006, everything changed when he met a woman named Jodi. Travis met Jodi in September of 2006 at a work conference in Las Vegas. The two became quickly connected, and almost immediately the relationship became intense. Jodi later converted, and many people believe that it was influenced by Travis and his faith, but almost from the beginning, their relationship was unstable. There were breakups, emotional highs and lows, and a connection that never seemed fully healthy. Even after they officially split, they continued talking, seeing each other, and even sleeping together. And that blurred line would become a major part of what happened next. As time went on, people close to Travis said Jodi became possessive, jealous, and obsessive, and according to testimony and reports, she allegedly hacked into his social media accounts, slashed his tires, and even entered his house through a dog door when he was not home. Friends later said that she would show up unexpectedly and monitor who he was talking to and become upset when he would spend time with other women. And by 2008, Travis was trying to move on. He was planning a trip to Cancun, and he was reportedly interested in another woman. And people later said that Jodi was especially upset by that. This is one of the reasons why this case hits so hard, because there was a lot of warning signs, but toxic relationships can blur reality. And sometimes, by the time that people realize how dangerous things have become, it's already too late. In early 2008, Jodi made a road trip that later would become a major focus of the investigation. She rented a car, she dyed her hair from blonde to brown, and she told different people different stories about where she was heading. And investigators later pointed to several suspicious details. She had gas cans, her phone was turned off during key periods, and prosecutors would argue that she was just trying to avoid leaving a clear digital trail. And later, they would say that these weren't random decisions. They believed that this trip was part of the plan. And on June 4th, 2008, Jodi arrived at Travis's home in Arizona, and according to evidence later presented in the court, these two spent time together that day. They took intimate photos, and for a brief moment, everything looked almost normal. But what happened next would become one of the most chilling parts in this entire case, because some of the last moments of Travis's life may have been captured by accident. After the murder, investigators found a digital camera in Travis's washing machine, and it had been damaged as if someone was trying to destroy it, but police were still able to recover the photos, and those photos became some of the most important evidence in this entire case. They showed Jodi and Travis together inside the house on the day that he died, and that alone was devastating for Jodi because she had already claimed that she was not there. The investigators found something even more disturbing: a sequence of accidental images, blurry, chaotic, and haunting. Images that appeared to capture the moments surrounding the attack. One blurred image seemed to show Travis falling near the shower, and that camera was supposed to be destroyed. Instead, it may have helped solve the case. At some point that day, Travis was Travis was attacked near his bathroom shower, and according to prosecutors, the assault was sudden and extremely violent. Travis was stabbed nearly 30 times. His throat was slashed so deeply it described as nearly decapitating. And on top of that, he was shot in his head. Medical evidence suggested that he may have tried to defend himself, but the attack was overwhelming and his body was left in the shower. And for days, no one fully understood what had happened inside that house. After the murder, Travis stopped answering calls and missed plans. That immediately worried his friends because he was supposed to go on a trip and it wasn't like him to just disappear. On June 9th, 2008, his friends went to check on him. What they found was horrifying. Travis's body was discovered in the shower and he had been there for days. And investigators quickly realized that this was not random, but this was personal. When investigators questioned Jodi, her story kept changing. At first, she said that she was not there, but the recovered photos proved that was a lie, and then her story changed. She claimed that 2 masked intruders broke into the house, killed Travis, and spared her. But there was no evidence of masked intruders, no signs of forced entry that matched her story, and investigators believed that the entire thing was fabricated. Eventually, Jodi changed her story again. This time, she admitted killing Travis, but she claimed that she did it in self-defense. She claimed that Travis had become violent and she feared for her life, and that final version would become the center of her defense. But by then, prosecutors argued her credibility was already destroyed, because when someone changes their story over and over again, the jury starts asking one question: which version is true, if any of those are even true? When a trial began, it quickly became a national obsession because the evidence was disturbing, the relationship was messy, and Jodi became one of the most talked about defendants in America. Prosecutors argued that this was a calculated, premeditated murder. They pointed out the road trip, the gas cans, the hair dye, the phone being turned off, the lies, and the attempt to destroy evidence. To them, this was not self-defense. This was planning, and defense argued something very different. They claimed that Travis had become abusive in private, and Jodi acted to save her own life. But for many people watching, the physical evidence did not seem to support that story. And as the trial unfolded, the case became one of the most infamous televised true crime trials of the modern era. In May 2013, the jury found Jodi guilty of first-degree murder. That meant the jury believed the killing of Travis was intentional and premeditated. The penalty phase became its own legal battle, with the jury unable to agree on the death penalty. And after the second penalty phase, that one also ended without a decision. Jodi was eventually sentenced in 2015 to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Travis's loved ones, the conviction brought justice, but it could never bring him back. The reason why people still talk about this case isn't because how violent the murder was, but it was the warning signs that feel familiar. Jealousy mistaken for love, control mistaken for passion, a toxic relationship that never fully ended, and someone who may have been unable to accept rejection. This case became more than a murder trial. It became a story about obsession, manipulation, and what can happen when emotional instability turns into violence. This case is one of those true crime stories that people never forget, not because Travis was murdered brutally, but because the obsession and the overwhelming evidence that made this case impossible to ignore. If you want more true crime stories like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what I should cover next. If you want more videos like this one, please check out the rest of my channel, and thanks for watching.